Hello and a very warm welcome. I am Gushin Garland and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, I get you the top 50 updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. Troubles mount for Meta CEO in the Indian Parliament. The tech giant is said to be summoned by the parliamentary panel on grounds of spreading misinformation. The summons pertains to Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg's remarks on the 2024 Indian general election. In a podcast, Zuckerberg said COVID pandemic led to an erosion of trust in the incumbent governments across the world. And he incorrectly cited India as an example to back his claim. Moving to the Kingdom of Denmark, Greenland's Prime Minister Epicentre expressed his wish to forge closer ties with the United States. This comes after US President-elect Donald Trump threatened to acquire the Danish autonomous territory. Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen also said that the country is ready to hold talks. Greenland lies on the shortest route from North America to Europe, making it strategically vital for the US. The White House has said that a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza is close and that a truce could be achieved this week before President Joe Biden leaves office. In a farewell speech, Biden also said the hostage deal is on the brink of being finalized. He said the agreement would include a surge in humanitarian aid to Gaza, release of hostages held by Hamas, and a halt to the fighting in the besieged Strip. Continuing in West Asia, Israeli strikes killed at least 50 people across Gaza on Monday. The strikes pounded the enclave, hitting schools, homes and offices, even gatherings of people. Several families were also victims by the deadly offensive. Local city officials have claimed that there are no rooms left in the hospitals for the wounded people. The Israeli military said it intercepted a projectile fired from Yemen on Monday. Iran-backed Houthis claimed responsibility for the attack. They said they launched a hypersonic missile at a target in the Jaffa region in Israel. They also launched 4 drones toward the same region and pledged to continue their operations until the end of aggression by Israel against Palestinians. The Iranian army received a delivery of 1,000 new drones on Monday in a big boost to the country's defense sector. This as Iran braces for more friction with Israel and the US. These drones have been distributed across various locations in Iran. The new drones have advanced stealth and anti-fortification capabilities. They can also travel for over 2,000 kilometers. European Union leaders will gather in Belgium on February 3 for a defence retreat involving Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer and NATO General Mark Rutte. In a letter inviting EU heads of state and government for talks, European Council Chief Antonio Costa said that Europe needed to assume greater responsibility for its own defence. The discussions will focus on defining priorities to boost Europe's defence capabilities. Now moving to the war in Europe, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke to his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron on Monday. Zelensky said he discussed the idea of Western troops being deployed to Ukraine. However, it was not clear if the Ukrainian premier was talking about combat troops or just peacekeeping forces in the country. Both the leaders also discussed various forms of defense, arms and packages for Ukraine. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico invited Ukrainian Prime Minister Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss Kiev's recent decision to halt Russian gas transit. Fico has earlier criticized Zelensky for his decision and said it harmed his country. Ukraine ended Russian natural gas supply through its territory in the early hours of January 1 this year. Fico said the move will cost his country millions as they will have to rely on alternative gas routes. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has picked Nawaf Salam as the Prime Minister of the country. Previously, he was a judge at the International Court of Justice in The Hague. Salam has been designated with the duty to pull Lebanon out of economic crisis. He was abroad when the announcement was made but is set to return by today. Meanwhile, Lebanon's Prime Minister Joseph Aoun met US General Michael Kurilla on Monday. Both the leaders held discussions on the fragile Lebanon ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah and also the presence of Israeli troops in southern Lebanon. The ceasefire is set to expire on January 26. Both the leaders also discussed ways to activate cooperation between the Lebanese and American armies. In South Asia, Indian Army Chief Upendra Dwivedi addressed key national security issues in his annual media conference in New Delhi. He labelled Pakistan as the epicenter of terrorism. General Dwivedi stated that 60% of recently neutralized troops in Jammu and Kashmir were of Pakistani origin. On Indian-China ties, the Indian Army chief described the situation along the line of actual control as stable but sensitive. South Korean military said North Korea fired several short missiles off its east coast. South Korea and the US had detected and monitored North Korea's missile launch preparations in advance. South Korea's acting president Choi Sang-mok condemned the launch, saying it violated UN Security Council resolutions. He added that the country would respond strongly to North Korea's provocations. Supporters of former Bolivian President Evo Morales clashed with police in capital La Paz on Monday as they demonstrated against the country's ongoing economic crisis. The protesters tried to enter the central plaza, which housed the government palace, but their way was blocked by police. At least 2 were detained. In climate news, heavy rains over the weekend caused severe destruction in western Bolivia. The town of Cuyam was particularly hit hard. The rivers in the region overflowed, affecting over 500 families and damaging between 40 to 60 houses. Nearby areas, including Tacoloma, also faced the brunt of the downpour. The deadly wildfires in Los Angeles continue to devastate the region. Around 92,000 people have been displaced so far. The fire has consumed nearly 40,000 acres of land. Despite efforts, containment remains limited, with the Palisades fire at 14% and the Eaton fire at 33%. Looting has also become a concern, leading to 9 arrests in evacuation zones. The financial toll is staggering, with the damages from the disaster estimated to be over $14 billion. The India Meteorological Department has issued weather alerts for multiple regions across India. Northern India is expected to experience rainfall and dense fog conditions. India's capital, New Delhi, has been placed under an orange alert for smog and fog. Meanwhile, South India is expected to get light to moderate rainfall accompanied by thunderstorms and lightning. The UK is bracing for a shortage of broccoli, cauliflower and other brassica vegetables this spring. This is due to unseasonably mild autumn and winter weather causing crops to mature prematurely. Compounding the issue, floods in key European farming regions have delayed planting. The Weather Office attributes these irregular patterns to climate change, which is driving a long-term warming trend in the UK winters. Climate activists spray-chalked the grave of Charles Darwin in London. The activists inscribed 1.5 is dead on the marble gravestone, referencing the recent surpassing of the 1.5 degrees Celsius global temperature threshold above pre-industrial levels. One activist stated, and I quote, "Darwin would be turning in his grave to know we are in the midst of the 6th mass extinction," end quote. Extreme weather events in Canada in 2024 led to an unprecedented $5.9 billion in uninsured damages. This is according to the Insurance Bureau of Canada. The summer of 2024 was particularly destructive, with 4 catastrophic weather events, including wildfires in Jasper National Park and flash floods in Toronto. The Biden administration has introduced new regulations to limit AI chip exports worldwide. Exports will be capped to most countries, while closest US allies will have unlimited access. China, Russia, Iran and North Korea are blocked from receiving AI chips. Shares of chipmaker Nvidia dropped as much as 5% on Monday morning. This after the outgoing US government announced it would restrict exports of artificial intelligence chips globally. Nvidia deemed these new changes as quote-unquote sweeping overreach. TikTok has rejected a report that claimed that China is considering a sale of its US operations to billionaire Elon Musk. The popular video sharing app faces a potential ban in the US unless it splits from its China-based parent company ByteDance. The US alleges that it poses nation security risk, claiming ByteDance has links with the Chinese government. 2 Democratic lawmakers are urging US President Joe Biden to extend the January 19 deadline for TikTok's parent firm to sell its US assets. Senator Edward Markey plans to propose a legislation to delay the deadline by 270 days. Biden could extend the deadline by 90 days if Biden shows substantial progress on divesting its U.S. operations. Apple and Samsung saw global smartphone shipments decline in the fourth quarter. This was due to intense competition from Chinese brands. Apple's shipments dropped 4.1% to 76.9 million units, and Samsung fell 2.7% to 51.7 million units. Chinese companies like Xiaomi, Oppo, and Honor gained market share with affordable devices. Global electric vehicle sales rose by 25% in 2024, surpassing 17 million cars. China led with 11 million EVs sold, a 40% increase from 2023. In US and Canada, EV sales rose by 9% to 1.8 million vehicles. And in Europe, sales declined 3% to 3 million vehicles, with Britain as the top market. Hyundai Motors' US unit and Stellantis are each contributing $1 million to President-elect Trump's inaugural fund. This is Hyundai's first time supporting a US presidential inauguration. The donations come as automakers prepare for potential tariff and policy changes under the new administration. Other firms have also made similar contributions, likely aiming to build favorable ties with the incoming government. Amazon has ordered 200 electric trucks, its largest ever electric vehicle purchase. The trucks will operate in the UK and Germany and cover high mileage routes. These electric trucks have a 500-kilometer range and will connect Amazon's fulfillment centers, sort centers, and delivery stations. The trucks will help transport over 350 million packages annually. Starbucks will require customers to make a purchase to stay in its stores or use facilities. This new policy changes comes into effect starting January 27. Until now, non-purchasers were allowed to use the store and restrooms. The move is part of Starbucks' strategy to address declining sales under new leadership. The change will apply to all company-owned locations in North America. Spain is planning to impose 100% tax on property purchased by non-European residents without legal residency in the country. The measure aims to combat ongoing housing crisis. The tax will specifically target buyers acquiring homes for profits rather than personal stay. Moving to sports, we start with cricket. The Australian men's team have announced their squad for the upcoming Champions Trophy. The squad will led by Pat Cummins. Pacer Josh Hazlewood has also been named despite injury concerns. In a statement, Cricket Australia described the 15-man squad as a balanced and experienced team. In football, Valencia have signed defender Marcus Aarons as one of the loan deal from Bournemouth. Aarons will now play for Bournemouth until the end of current season. According to reports, Valencia will have an option to make the transfer permanent. Colombia's captain and former Real Madrid star James Rodriguez has joined Mexican club Leon. This comes after Rodriguez's brief and unsuccessful stint with La Liga side Rayo Vallecano. The 33-year-old said he is ready to play in Mexico with a lot of enthusiasm and excitement. In tennis, men's world number 7 Novak Djokovic began his Australian Open campaign with a hard-fought win. The 10-time Australian Open winner beat Nishesh Basava Reddy of the United States 4-6, 6-3, 6-4, 6-2. Djokovic has launched his campaign for a record 25th Grand Slam title in Melbourne. The Serb next faces Jamie Faria of the Portugal in the second round. America's Taylor Fritz has also made a winning start in the Australian Open. In an all-US clash, Fritz beat Jenson Brooksby 6-2, 6-0, 6-3. After the match, Fritz said, and I quote, "I am super happy how the match went." End quote. Fritz will secure off against Chile's Christian Guerin in round 2. Over the women's draw, British tennis star Emma Raducanu won her opening round of women's singles in the Australian Open. Raducanu beat her Russian Ekaterina Alexia Jova 7-4, 7-2. The match lasted 2 hours and 16 minutes. Raducanu's second round opponent is Amanda Anisimova of America. In badminton, mixed doubles pair Dhruv Kapalia and Tanisha Crasto won the round of 32 match in India Open. The Indians beat a pair from Chinese Taipei 8-21, 21-19, 21-17. Both Tanisha Crasto and Dhruv Kapalia are seasoned players with notable success at international events. Meanwhile, star Indian shuttler are set to feature in front of the home crowd in India Open. In men's double, defending champions Satvik Sairaj Ranika Reddy and Chirag Shetty will play their first round match against Malaysian opponents. Meanwhile, PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen will also aim for the title glory in New Delhi. Police in Texas have arrested a man who allegedly sent sexually explicit messages to basketball star Catelyn Clark. If convicted, the accused could face up to 6 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Former world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury has announced retirement from boxing. The 36-year-old previously announced his retirement in April 2022, but returned to the ring 6 months later. In a statement, Fury said that he loved every single minute of boxing. The Briton has enjoyed 2 stints as heavyweight champion and holds an unprecedented record of 34 wins. And finally, to the world of showbiz, as wildfires devastate Los Angeles County, Hollywood studios have stepped up with significant donations to aid relief efforts. Warner Bros. Discovery has pledged $15 million for immediate response and rebuilding, while Amazon, Comcast and Netflix each committed $10 million. Sony contributed $5 million and Paramount Global added $1 million. Meanwhile, singer Beyonce also announced $2.5 million in donations through her Be Good Foundation. They are focusing on assisting families and community centers in affected areas. Her personal connection to the fires was evident as her mother, Tina Knowles, revealed that her Malibu bungalow was destroyed in the wildfire. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has postponed the announcement of Oscar nominations by nearly a week. This is due to the ongoing California wildfires. Originally scheduled for January 17th, nominations will now be revealed on January 23. The fires have disrupted the Los Angeles community, leading the Academy to extend the voting period and cancel its annual nominees luncheon. Heidi Montag's 2010 album Superficial has surged to the top of iTunes charts. This is after she lost her home in the Los Angeles wildfires. Prompted by husband Spencer Pratt's social media plea, fans rallied to support the reality star, propelling the album to #1 on multiple charts. Montag expressed gratitude for the unexpected resurgence. She called it a bright spot amid personal devastation. Carrie Underwood and the Village People are set to headline Donald Trump's 2025 inauguration events. Underwood will perform America the Beautiful, while the disco group will entertain crowds with the hits like YMCA. The Village People defended their participation, emphasizing music's role in uniting people despite political divides. Trump's inauguration weekend will include fireworks, rallies and glitzy dinners. Singer Zayn Malik marked his 32nd birthday with a unique horror-themed cake inspired by The Last of Us. Malik shared the images of the zombie-like cake on his social media account. The singer also acknowledged their efforts in supporting charitable causes close to his heart. The makers of the film A Real Pain released its trailer. Jesse Eisenberg's latest directorial effort promises an emotional yet humorous journey of self-discovery. The film stars Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin as estranged cousins who reconnect after a family tragedy. It will stream on Hulu from the 16th of January. Iconic Events Releasing has unveiled the first look at Scream Boat, starring David Howard Thornton and the Killer Mouse. The film follows a group of New Yorkers battling a murderous menace on a late-night ferry. Writer-director Stephen LaMotta describes Scream Boat as a dark homage to Disney, blending humor with gore. The film will release in April. NFL star Travis Kelce shared his excitement about appearing alongside Adam Sandler in Netflix's upcoming comedy Happy Gilmore 2. Calling it a dream come true, Kelce revealed that working with Sandler and his production team was a highlight of his entertainment career. While his role remains undisclosed, Kelce hinted at playing a country club employee in the highly anticipated sequel. And finally, acclaimed author Neil Gaiman has been accused of sexually assault by multiple women in a New York magazine expose. 8 women detailed disturbing accounts of their respective incidents. Allegations include an instance where Gaiman allegedly assaulted a 22-year-old babysitter in his garden. Neither Gaiman nor his representatives have publicly responded to the allegations. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gushin Garland and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay informed and stay tuned to First Post.